Hello everyone and welcome back to LewisFiction and another episode of my animated Spider-Man series. If you have missed the first two episodes, make sure to go back and watch them first before watching this episode, as this episode will not make any sense. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. The first two episodes in the series were set the stage for various conflicts, the first being the internal battle for clarity and settlement for Peter Parker, deciding how to get his life together. In episode 2, it was the power struggle between Norman Osborn and Wilson Fisk that was ensuing, setting the stage for a major conflict in New York City. Throughout this episode, this theme will be continued. However, now that they are both acquainted with one another and aware of each other's presence, the tension between both of them will be personified through the decisions that they make as businessmen. The decision to up the ante from both of them will be clear throughout this episode. In the last episode, we were personally introduced to Norman Osborn through his own scenes. We got the perspective of that character to really flesh out his story and the significance he has to New York. Well, in this episode, this will be recreated in a similar fashion. However, this time we will be formally introduced to the reporter that had been popping up during the battles that Spider-Man has had with his villains over the last couple episodes, Shocker and Tombstone. That reporter goes by the name of Carlie Cooper. This is when we are also introduced to Robbie Robertson in the series too. Calling back to the last episode, Robbie will be starting his own business. We meet Robbie a few months into his news outlet that he has started called Frontline. Carlie Cooper will in fact be an employee of Frontline and will actually be a reporter at the company as well. We will get to see a lot of her character and the hard-working personality that she is. During this part of the episode, we will also get references to Ben Urich, Betty Brant, and a few others who have followed Robbie to Frontline from the Daily Bugle. However, a large portion of this episode will be showing how good Carlie is at her job, expressing and representing her character through her determination on the job. She will throw herself into dangerous situations just to break a story for Frontline. It becomes clear that Carlie's determination is a massive part as to why Frontline has taken off and been as successful as it is. We will delve more into Carlie's current story that she is working on and looking to break. It will be revealed that if Carlie breaks this story, it could be a massive boost for Frontline to make them rival some of New York's greatest news sources. Carlie will be following the Maggia crime family story, with the ultimate goal of trying to figure out who is behind all of the corruption. She has a few pieces of the puzzle together, knowing that Tombstone and Herman Schultz do have some involvement in the crime family, but knows that it goes a lot deeper than that. At the start of this episode, she believes a thug that goes by the criminal name of Hypno Hustler is also a part of the web of criminals connected to the Maggia. She will do some research and find his identity to be that of Antoine Delsoin. As well as this, she will be clued up on his powers and abilities. A big part of her character will be the idea that she is always working solo, and doesn't ever need the help of anyone else. She will feel held back by other people interfering in her stories, as she likes to run things her own way. Now that we've cleared up what Carlie Cooper's story will be throughout this episode, let's move back onto the Peter Parker side of things. It will be more of what we've seen from him in the previous two episodes. Either him applying for jobs, him having to deal with trying not to ditch on Aunt May, or him as Spider-Man tracking down clues towards the Maggia. A big theme for Peter in this episode will be the lesson of learning how to work as a pair. The first half of the episode will make it clear that Peter rolls solo, as he has done for his entire Spider-Man career. We will get a reference to a point in time in which he worked with Daredevil, and it not going too well. This will be where our stories will converge in this episode. Spider-Man and Carlie's stories will meet during an encounter with the villain Hypno Hustler, another pawn in a bigger interconnected web of villains and criminals, as we mentioned before. They won't get on at first, as it's clear that Spider-Man usually works solo, as we mentioned. Also, we mentioned earlier that Carlie also works solo as well. She will also reflect some kind of stubbornness to be able to work with Spider-Man. During the fight, Carlie will hold her own, representing the fact that she clearly has done this before. Like I mentioned during the last episode, I'd like Spider-Man to have to overcome a physical challenge by learning something new in combat as Spider-Man, which could be overall a very good representation of his growth as a character throughout the series. If you couldn't guess, during this episode, his learning curve will be to learn how to work as a team. Likewise, Carlie will also have to set aside the fact that she doesn't like people interfering with her stories, and will have to work together with Spider-Man to help take down Hypno Hustler. Carlie's research into Hypno allows her to detail Spider-Man into his powers and abilities, to be able to work around them and find his weaknesses. At first, Peter will stubbornly not want her help, proclaiming that he can find a way to take out Hypno Hustler by himself. However, after not being successful, he takes Carlie's advice, and it works. thus resolving this episode's learning curve for Spider-Man. After the fight, both Spider-Man and Carlie track down clues that lead them to believe that the man responsible for the creation of the Maggia crime family is a man known as the Kingpin. We know both Spider-Man and Carlie are tracking the same thing. They both have a common enemy and a common goal: track down the Maggia, break the story, and in Spider-Man's case, take them down. They also uncover some rumors that state that the Kingpin is in fact the mayor of the city, Mr. Wilson Fisk. But these are only rumors, and more work will have to be done to uncover the proper truth. After all is said and done, Spider-Man and Carlie will share a conversation where they learn about each other's lives a little more. Carlie will tell Spider-Man that she works for Frontline, Robbie Robertson's new business. Peter will think to himself in this moment that this could be a good opportunity for a new job, since he has been looking for one since the start of episode 1. Peter will then return home that night, battered and bruised from the Hypno Hustler fight. However, Jameson Sr. snaps. After ducking and coming in late, disturbing both May and himself, he has had enough. He confronts Peter about how he treats May and how disrespectful he's been. He calls him lazy and a slob. Peter is angry, but he can't reveal the real reason as to why he's always like this. Peter knows that he's Spider-Man. He has a responsibility after what Uncle Ben has taught him. And in some way, Peter will see Jameson Sr. trying to replace Uncle Ben. All Peter is trying to do is live up to the message that his uncle taught him. Jameson Sr. kicks him out of the house. Peter says that you can't do that, and Jameson Sr. will say he can, and it's what's best for his aunt. Peter is furious and leaves. This is a new low point for Peter in this series. Consistently, his duty as Spider-Man gets him nothing but trouble from his family and his friends around him. He lost Mary Jane because of Spider-Man, and now he's lost Aunt May. Maybe it wasn't Aunt May's fault. Maybe Jameson Sr. seems a little controlling, and maybe that's a flaw in his character. But still, Peter Parker is left homeless, not wanting to return to May to plead for somewhere to stay, worried that Jameson Sr. will make things worse. And thus, we come to the end of episode 3. Thank you very much for watching episode 3. If you did enjoy, make sure to like on it, and also make sure to subscribe so you do not miss the rest of the series. Episode 4 comes out next Thursday at 7 PM UK time. Obviously, one of these episodes comes out every single Thursday until the series is done. So make sure to subscribe so you do not miss that. Also, Spectacular Spider-Man is coming out every single Sunday. Obviously, season 4, we're pretty much midway through the series at the moment, getting quite close to the end. So if you don't want to miss that series as well, make sure you subscribe. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.